Hey guys, welcome back to another episode with me, Noveza Gugaya, on Journeying with the Lord. I'm giving it a name, I'm giving it a meaning. I share testimonies, word, and today I'll be sharing a word/testimony on the goodness of the Lord and how God has helped me to navigate in friendship, in keeping my word. And the verse that I'll be reading from for today's title, for today's episode, something. So I'll be reading from Psalm 15, verse 4. When we ask God to intervene in situations that sometimes seem so minor, so unnecessary, He really does pull through for us. He really also does show us His character, and we get to see, like, mirror ourselves, see how we are behaving, and sometimes in ways that do not please Him, sometimes in ways that do not please the people in our lives. And so I'll be sharing a story on how I did not keep my word to someone and how God has come in to that and helped me to be a woman of my word. And so the word comes from Psalm 15. In the beginning, it says, "Who can stand in the sanctuary of the Lord?" And the rest of the verses after that describe the kind of person that can stand in the sanctuary of the Lord. There's a song that we used to sing when I was younger. It's a Xhosa song, and it says, "Ngubani na onokuma endaweni engcwele," and it continues to say, "Ozandla zimsulwa, onhliziyo inyulu," and then it says, "Nguye yedwa." And when I was reading this verse, I was reminded of that song, and I just want to share what the Lord helped me with, and hopefully that's something that's going to help you as well in your journey with Him. And even if you are not journeying with Him yet, and you are interested, and or you want to learn more about Him, this is one of the videos that can help you to know more about His character, know more about what it means to be a woman of God or woman of her word. And the verse is, I'll read it from the Message version. It says, "Keep your word even if it costs you. Make an honest living. Never take a bribe. You will never get blacklisted if you live like this." And the one that I liked, it says, "And keep their promises even when it hurts." And so I want to talk about how I didn't keep my promise and how God helped me to, how He taught me this word and how He helped me using this word to be someone who eventually keeps their word. And so, one of the things that I want to highlight is that being a follower of Christ, it means that you are someone who has a different lifestyle. You do not live your life just anyhow. You do not live your life to please yourself, but you live your life to please the Lord. And sometimes we do things to please ourselves, and we do that because it hurts, or we do that because it's a norm, and we've always seen things being done in that way, and we've never actually seen things being done differently. And so we tend to go on a path that we are familiar with rather than choosing a different one where you haven't seen a model or someone playing it out for you to say, "Oh, I can also choose that. It seems like it's a road that a person can be able to navigate." Sometimes you do not need to see physical people or like someone necessarily to go in a path that you do not know, and all you need is God to help you to navigate that journey. And so let me get to how I did not keep my word and how I needed to remember that I need to keep my word even though it hurts, or even though it's costing. So I have this friend, and we were having a conversation, and in the conversation she was just telling me what she likes and what she liked, and she was telling me that she trusts my eye for this thing that she likes, and she would really like for me to choose that particular thing for her. And um but it was not more like a forceful thing, like I want you to get me this thing or that. It was like, I really like this, and I was like, oh, I will, pick one for you. And so that was my promise to her in keeping, oh, picking rather. I said I was gonna pick the thing for her. I don't want to mention what it is. I also don't want to mention the person out of respect for them, but I do want to kind of paint a picture what it means to keep your word. And so um, I promised to get the thing for her, and time went by. I obviously got the thing for her, and I was communicating with her to say, hey, I got the thing, but I still haven't sent it through. But I'll send it through when I have um, all the resources and the time. And she was understanding. And the reason why I was communicating with her, even though I hadn't done what I said I was going to do, is because I wanted her to trust that I'm going to do what I said I was going to do. I also wanted her to understand that I'm in a process and there's something that's holding me up from doing the thing that I said I was going to do. And one of the things that are important in being someone of your word is communication. If you're someone who really struggles with communication or letting people know what is happening in your life and being transparent, that can get in the way of you being a person who keeps their word, a person of honor, and it can make you look like you're a liar because you're not telling the other person why you're not doing what you said you're going to do. And sometimes people are not necessarily not doing things because they don't want to do them. It's because there are things that hold them up or the situations that they're going through. And it's very important for you to be able to communicate, like, hey, friend, this, and that happening in my life. I know I said I was going to do this, but I can't do this. And so I ask for grace or more time. And I think in now we've become people who like, oh, I don't owe this person explanation, or I don't owe people explanation, even in situations where we actually do owe people um, explanation on why you haven't done something or why you are taking longer than the time you had said you would do it. So I was in communication with her to say this is what's happening, and she was very understanding. Fast forward, I kept on just not making the time, and it got to a point where we had a misunderstanding, but it was misunderstanding from my side. I did not understand a text that she sent me, and so she sent me this text, and she said something, but it was like more in a joking manner, or in a banter kind of manner. And she sent me this text, and I read the text, and I wasn't sure like the tone of it, or so I asked a couple of people, what does this mean? Does this mean this? Does it mean that? And um, the only person who knows what they meant is the person who wrote the text. And I did not ask the person who wrote the text. I sat with it for a while, but I did pray about it and ask God to help me communicate what I was feeling and experiencing at the time. And so I took a while, and she tried to reach out, and I was just like, oh, I don't know. And also, me not answering the call had nothing to do with her. It was all me. It was all on me. I was just thinking about how I didn't know what to say. Also, I had not resolved the matter internally, so I was just like, oh no, I'm not ready. So I didn't pick up. I didn't explain, which is where the communication part is important. When someone hasn't done anything wrong, it's very important for us to put them at ease, to say, hey, I can't pick up your call, but this is happening in my life. I'll get back to you. And I think sometimes we really become people who are self absorbed because of things that we've experienced, hurt, like because of other friendships that we've had, or sometimes even family members where we feel like, oh, I'm never going to do this again, or I'm never going to communicate in this way again. And while we are hurting, or while we've experienced that, but we deprive ourselves from experiencing a different relationship with other people who have nothing to do with what you experience. And you sort of put like a blanket, and with everyone that you meet, you say, oh no, I don't trust people. Oh no, I'm not going to act in this way with this person because of what happened in the past. And the Lord doesn't want us to show up in that way when we are dealing with people. He really wants us to be able to give each and every person that we meet an opportunity to get to know them. So let's get back to the story. So after a year, I still hadn't kept my promise. And I was still praying about it, funny enough. It's not funny, but it's like I was still thinking about it. I was still, you know, it was in my mind all the time that, oh, I still haven't done this. And I was asking the Lord to help me. But it was just so difficult because, and as much as I didn't really have like an excuse anymore, because I had a conversation with a friend eventually, and I did tell her what I was experiencing, what I was feeling about the text, and she did explain to me that that's not what she meant. And yeah, I got clarity on it, and now I needed to act on this thing. But I wasn't forthcoming. I did not act. I did not, I didn't have that all in me. But I was constantly like thinking about it and praying about, like, Lord, help me. I need to do this thing. And I just wasn't doing it until I came across this verse. And this verse really spoke to me. And God reminded me through this verse that I had made a promise, or I had said I was going to do something and I did not do it. So I needed to do that thing, because if I don't do it, then it means I'm a liar and I'm not a person of my word. I do not keep my word. And the reason why it's important for me as a child of God to keep their word is because that is who God is. That is the character of Jesus. Jesus is the man who keeps his word. And if I am his child and I am his follower, then I should be able to keep his word um, through grace that he gives me. And I really took it lightly at first, but ever since I read this verse, I began to think, oh, this is serious. This is not something that I should just be like, oh, I'm going to do it, and not consider the other person and not consider God in it. Because in as much as maybe she would feel like, oh, it's not a big deal, it's whatever, but how does it make God feel? How does it honor God? Am I honoring God by not keeping my word? And so after a year and a couple of months, I think, or weeks, um, I remember God just speaking to me. At this time, I'm no longer communicating because I've had excuses upon excuses. And I just feel like it's not like I can't have any more excuse. I just need to do the thing. And I remember talking to the friend and just telling her that I was still going to do what I said I was going to do. And she was still like, okay, cool. And I'm so grateful that she was like patient and understanding, even when I misunderstood her and even when I made her wait. And fast forward, I remember waking up and God just reminded me that you just need to go into your phone, copy all the information that you need in order for you to do this, and you need to do it. And that same morning, I did share it with my sister that there was this thing that I needed to do, but I was really just slacking in doing it. I had made so much progress in like doing it. I was collecting all the necessary things that I needed to do in order for me to wrap it and to make sure that it was sent. But I was just not getting to the part where I'm sending it. And I then my sister woke up that day and she said, "Today I will accompany you and you are going to do this thing." And I was just like, funny enough, when I woke up this morning, God said, "Copy all the information that you need in order for you to send this thing." And if that does not tell you that God is concerned about every detail of our lives, then I don't know what. But I just felt like this is such a minor thing. It's not like, well, I mean, depends, but it's not something that I would have expected God to be just like, "Hey, you need to do this thing." Like, hey, like you said you were going to do something, you need to do it. So that day, I eventually did keep my promise, and I did communicate with the friend that, hey, so, the thing is on the way. And I kid you not, the friend was so understanding. She was so kind. She was so gracious. She was just like, "Okay, I'm going to wait." And she waited a couple of days or about a week. And when she got it, she let me know that, "Hey, I got it." And she was so grateful. She was so gracious. She was so understanding. She was so forgiving. And I was just reminded of the kindness of God through her, that though I expected, because of what I had done, for my consequences to be much more. In fact, I did not even experience any consequences for that matter, but I just expected that maybe she would feel some type of way, like maybe she wouldn't want to talk to me, as she was in her right not to. Maybe she would have been like, "Ah, don't bother." Or there's a lot of things that she could have thought of while I was talking to her that she did not say. Instead, she was gracious, she was kind, she was understanding. And I was reminded of God's love for me, that God loves me so much that He would ensure that I keep my word when it comes to the people in my life. And not just for that, but just to show me who He is, that He's a gracious God, He's a kind God, but He's also a God who keeps His promises, He's also a God who keeps His word. And therefore, I need to be like Him. We need to be more and more like Jesus. And even with the little things, we need to be more and more like Jesus. Someone else might think, "Oh, it's not a big deal." I mean, I spoke to a couple of people who didn't think it was a big deal that I was doing this. And for me, it was a big deal because I had read this verse, and it was weighty for me to see how it starts when it's asking who can stand in the sanctuary of the Lord. And it talks about people who keep their promises. And yeah, sure, it might not seem to be a big deal, but it is a big deal for you to keep your promise, and for you to know that because you're a child of God, there's an expectation. People who do not know Christ do not know what it's like or what it means to be a follower. And by you keeping your word, you're showing them that this is part of being a follower. This is part of being a child of God. When you say you're going to do something, just do it. And there's a verse in the Bible um, that says that we must be, if you are faithful with the little things, then you are going to be trusted with much more bigger things. And I think it's important that when you doing something, you don't think about the now, that, "Oh, this is so small, this is so unnecessary." Think about the habit that you are building up of keeping your word with the little thing. And one day you'll have to keep your word with a bigger thing. And you'll have to be, if you can be trusted with little, then you can be trusted with much. And so I'm so grateful that God got me to a point where I could see where I was wrong, and He could help me to rectify my wrong. Like I had the opportunity to do the right thing. I could have ignored His voice. I could have ignored all the things that He was doing, trying to get me to do the right thing, because maybe I thought, it's not a big deal. But I'm glad that I didn't, because I think that now I'll remember it even as I journey with Him, that there was a time where I did not keep my promise, and when I have the opportunity to do it, let me keep my promise. But also it makes me be very mindful not to just make promises that I can't keep. As a person, I can't be someone who goes around promising people that, oh, friend, I'll be with you in this way, or I'll show up for you in this way, or friend, I'll call you, or I'll text you. Sometimes I forget to text people and to call people like I said I was going to do it. Or I don't forget, I'm just like thinking about it over and over. I'm like, oh, I need to do this because I said I was going to do it. So even in, sometimes we get excited when we're around our friends, when we're around our family, and we're like, oh, guys, let's meet up, let's do things, let's call each other. And when the time comes for you to do that and you can't, it doesn't look good. So it's better for you not to be so excited that you start saying you're going to do things that you're not going to do, than to be someone who says you're going to do things and not do them. So yeah, so I spoke with a friend, and um, I really did expect her to just be like, okay, I'm going to block you now because, yeah, you've been a terrible person. And I'm just so grateful to have experienced that through her. And I know she does not know how I've just, I've been thinking about it this entire time, because she just hasn't stopped being the kind person that she is and that she's always been. And I appreciate that so much about her. And it just reminds me of how gracious God is towards us, even when we don't deserve for people to keep or to stay in our lives. They stay maybe because of God's grace, sometimes maybe because of the light that they see. For whatever reason, I'm not saying this is why she decided to to be gracious, but I'm saying there's a million reasons why people decide to be part of our lives and to stay even though they've seen the worst of us. And when I thought about her, I thought, oh man, she's such a kind person. I remember I met her in varsity, and when I met her, we were all young, but old, but young, and we've lived so many lives since then. But she has maintained how, gracious she is. She's always been that person. She's maintained that standard, and I really like that about, people who are just consistent. I'm not someone who think I don't think I'm very consistent, especially when it comes to communication and things like that. I think depends what's happening in my life, then I'll just, be stumbling and not keeping my promises. But now I'm really determined to remember to keep my promise because of this experience that I've had. And I really hope that you also will look into your own life and to see in the areas where haven't you kept your promise, where have you said you were going to do something for someone and you didn't do it, where did you say maybe promised something that, oh God, if you do this for me, I'm going to do this. If God, you give me this, I'm gonna go to church. God, if you do this, I'm gonna read my Bible every day. Sometimes we just need to remember those things. I try not to make promises to God. If I need something from God, I need that thing. If I need Him to show up in a way for me, I need Him to show up in that way for me. I don't need to make a promise in order for Him to do something for me because best believe I know better, because especially now, because I know if I'm struggling to keep a promise with just a friend, human being, I don't want to be caught not keeping my promise with the Lord. So I try not to make any promises with the Lord about, oh God, I'm going to do this for you, I'm going to do that. I just ask for God to give me His grace to do the things that He wants me to do. And I hope that you will be encouraged to firstly read this verse for yourself and ask the Holy Spirit to help you identify areas in your life where you haven't kept your promise, where you haven't been the person that you said you were going to be, or the person that you are. I'm not sure how I wanted to, I'm not sure what I wanted to say there, but yeah. And I hope that you don't condemn yourself or feel extremely guilty for not keeping your word, but you just take it like from this day onwards, I will keep my promise. Because sometimes we can be in a situation where we we want to go back and fix the things that we didn't do right, and sometimes it's not going to happen. You won't have the opportunity to go back to that life and do or undo the things that you didn't do. And you have tomorrow, though, if you have it. to rectify those wrongs by starting on a new leaf. And I think God is able to give us that grace for us. He says that his mercies are new every morning, and great is his faithfulness. So God can give us the ability to do the right thing, even if in the past we have failed to do it. um, yeah, and I hope you will be who you say you are, and that you remember when you say that you're a child of God, it's not just about you looking in a certain way around your friends or your family or society, but it's truly just about honoring God with everything that you do. When you are, amongst your friends, when you are with your family, wherever you are, you represent Christ, and people will come to him because of what you do, because of your behavior, because of your lifestyle. And it's not so much about preaching, and it's not so much about being on platforms and for people to go to Christ or for people to come to Christ. It's about how you represent him in your character, lifestyle, in everything that you do. Remember that whatever you do, you need to do it for the glory of God, to honor him. So if how you're living right now, deep down inside does not honor him, take a time and sit with him, pray about it, and ask him to help you in the areas of your life where you are struggling. Call a friend that can pray with you. Go to a Bible-based church and find people there, community, people that can help you to walk with Christ and to help you and your relationship with him. So I hope you will be blessed, be equipped and encouraged by this video, and that God will continue giving you more and more grace in order for you to keep walking with him, and doing his will every day of your life. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope that you will like the video, share it, and subscribe if you're not subscribed. Share with those that might need to hear this. Share with your loved ones. Just bless someone on this day. And yeah, I will end off this video by praying and asking God to help you and to help me to be people who keep their word, be people who keep their promises, be faithful people, and to be trusted with the little things, so that he can trust us with even bigger things. Heavenly Father, thank you for this time, and that you've helped me to share this verse and this testimony on how you have helped me to be someone who keeps their word. I pray that whoever's watching this video and needs this encouragement, that they will be encouraged. I pray that you would help whoever's struggling to keep their word to get to a point where they are able to do what they said they would do. I pray that you would show us in our lives where we have not kept our word, where we have not kept our promises, and you will help us to start over and be people who can be trusted, people who honor you by how we live. Father, I pray that you will bless whoever's watching, and that we would continue seeking your face in everything that we do, even with the things that we think are low things. In the name of Jesus, amen. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope to see you on the next video. See you soon. Bye.